Chapter 6377. The valuation of $5 billion has greatly exceeded the real market value of Skyline. Although Steve gave a time limit of 3 years to get the money, at least there is no performance bet. That is to say, as long as the shareholders of Skyline sign, the money will be received. These days, the most unacceptable thing to sign is a bet agreement. The world's situation changes as fast as lightning. You may think that your industry will become a hot spot in the next 3 years. But tomorrow the entire industry may be completely finished. In this case, no one dares to bet that future performance will continue to rise. Therefore, Carl almost immediately had the answer in his mind. He had no reason to refuse this proposal. However, he still hoped to strive for greater benefits. After all, he was facing the second in command of the Rothschild family. The Rothschild family is rich enough to rival a country. $5 billion and $6 billion, to them, may be like 50,000 and 60,000 in the eyes of ordinary middle-class people. It is normal to spend a little more money when you like something. Thinking of this, he said to Steve, "Mr. Rothschild, we can accept the terms of your proposal. But the company's valuation is slightly lower than our expectations. We hope to increase the valuation of Skyline to $6 billion. If you accept it, we can sign the contract at any time." Steve was not a fool. He smiled calmly and said, "This offer is based on my personal interest in the remote sensing satellite industry. If I were to analyze the actual value and development space of Skyline based on a rational market, I would not come here at all. So this price is the ceiling price I can give. I can assure you that there will be no room for price growth. As for whether there is room for price decline, I can't guarantee it to you." Steve's attitude puts Carl in a dilemma. He didn't know whether Steve was telling him the truth or deliberately lying to deceive himself. The most important thing now was to try whether Steve was determined to get Skyline for some reason. If so, he would not give up the $6 billion. No matter how he explained and whitewashed himself, he would definitely win in the end. But if not, he would probably lose a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get out of the predicament because of the $6 billion offer. Seeing that Carl was hesitant, Steve took out his phone and said calmly, "It seems that 3 days is too long for you. Let me give you 3 minutes to think about it. As long as you say yes, $2.5 billion cash will be in your account within 10 minutes. If you say no, or say anything unrelated to yes, I will immediately stop the acquisition and return to New York. You decide, and the countdown begins." Carl was so nervous that he almost broke out in a cold sweat. This feeling was like playing a game of answering questions and passing levels. If he answers the last question and accumulates a lot of bonuses, he can win more bonuses if he chooses to answer this question. But once he loses, all the previous bonuses will be cleared. If he gives up the last question, the accumulated bonuses can be put in his pocket and there will be no more risks. 2 minutes passed quickly, and Steve reminded him, "It's the last minute. If you still can't make a decision, I'll go back in 1 minute." Carl looked at Steve, hesitated for a moment, and finally made up his mind and blurted out, "Yes. I choose yes." After that, he breathed a sigh of relief on the spot. Steve nodded and said, "Give me the bank information of all your shareholders. $2.5 billion will correspond to each person's shares, and all will be paid within 10 minutes. Carl exclaimed, "Mr. Steve, don't we need to sign a framework agreement and then wait for the audit before paying?"